Sam, stay back.
So what's next, huh? You killed 10 this time, then what, 100? Where does it end? Please, let me help you.
Don't try and manipulate me. Karli, don't!
Karli immediately tries to use her brute strength in order to overpower Captain America, and this is the first and only time in the show that we have seen a non-serum powered person fight a serum powered person with no partners and no backup. Now, I think the most thematically compelling thing about this fight is the fact that Captain America is trying to win her over by that's an axe kick, an ankle kick, tornado kick, and then a super kick, and then rolls in and does a spinning back fist, and then the two of them just switch right here where they switch. Hey friends, John here, and welcome to the Martial Actor. Today I, a black belt, will be reacting to The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. These are clips from the season 1 finale, episode 6, titled One World, One People, featuring the new and improved Captain America. If you haven't seen me react to the rest of the show, check out the links in the description below. If you're a hardcore fan, join my Discord channel. If you like what you see, hit that like or subscribe, and let's dive right in. Sam Wilson flies in with a super dynamic entrance, crashing through the window, going into a dive roll, and showing off the new Captain America suit. And I was so here for it. I think the suit looks awesome. I really love the redesign, and I think that the way that the suit looks with the shield is on point.
Wait, who are you? Captain America.
And this was such a pivotal point in Sam's character development when he is finally willing to take up the mantle and say the name Captain America. It was a huge victory for him. That was a front stepping tool kick. Sam does a really great back roll out of it. And then this is Batroc the Leaper, which I think was a really great decision. The show opened with Falcon fighting Batroc, and now we get to see the new and improved Falcon, Captain America fighting Batroc. And I think it was a really good narrative way to the bookend of the show. I thought it was a really great choice, and George St. Pierre is awesome.
Don't let him out of the building.
Oops.
This is some really tricky stuff here. That was a front kick into a jumping roundhouse, and then that was a jump spinning side kick. This all just shows how talented George St. Pierre is as a martial artist.
Well, that's one down.
How'd you manage
So another really strong side kick from George St. Pierre, and the way that they framed this fight was an interesting choice. Throughout this whole episode, they are juxtaposing clips of fight scenes with these other scenes that are moving the plot forward and moving the finale forward. And it makes sense from a logistical point of view, but I think because they were using it so much and leaning on that mechanic so much, it actually ended up being a disservice. I feel like the overall flow of this episode was kind of choppy because of it. There was a nice tornado kick by Captain America, followed up by a kick immediately after that, and that's actually one of my favorite tricks to throw in sparring. To throw a really quick kick right after a flashy one, most people don't expect it. Batroc showing off more tricky choreo here. You get to see his flexibility with this kick, and honestly, like, I was just really pleased with how this looked. Again, George St. Pierre is an amazing fighter, and anytime he does anything, it's really well done.
Au revoir.
And I really liked how they chose to end this fight as well. Captain America throwing the shield out and then jumping out the window, spreading his wings and catching it on the way down is just style points like crazy, and that's exactly the kind of spectacle that we want to see in this episode. This stunt right here where Bucky is driving the motorcycle towards the Flagsmashers is so reminiscent of a stunt that Steve Rogers' Captain America did in Captain America the Winter Soldier. When Bucky flies off the motorcycle and tackles the Flagsmasher, it is almost exactly the same as when Steve Rogers flew off of the motorcycle and jumped onto the Hydra ship. Marvel loves its callbacks, and I don't think they did that as a mistake. I think they did it on purpose, and it is meant to show Bucky's character progression. He is now also evolving as a character. He is taking up his portion of Steve's legacy by embracing his identity as the White Wolf and being a proper support, both physically and morally, for the new Captain America. And now we get John Walker coming back. And I was expecting him to come back in this episode. This was not a surprise by any means, but it seemed kind of random that he just like walked up in the middle of the fight.
You don't think Lamar's like
But
that?
we've all been waiting for the John Walker Karli rematch, so I was excited to see it. Karli gets a really strong roundhouse kick and just kicks the shield down, and I thought that it was a really great subversion of what we were expecting. John's shield immediately gets dented in this fight, and I think that that is very strong symbolically. There are a lot of conclusions that you can draw from that simple imagery. And right here, he is in trouble. When you have a group of assailants that are right on top of you and you are on the ground, there isn't really a ton that you can do. He is using the shield to cover up, which is so important. And then luckily Bucky comes in to save the day. And I was not expecting this. I was not expecting Bucky to team up and help John Walker, especially based on the interactions that they had in the past. So I was pleasantly surprised. That was another strong spinning side kick, and I love seeing these spinning kicks, these jumping kicks. They're harder to pull off, so I enjoy seeing them. John dispatches the last of like the miscellaneous Flagsmashers right here, and it very quickly turns into a one-on-one fight between him and Karli. And I thought that this was another very pivotal part of the episode. We have been wanting to see the showdown between John Walker and between Karli Morgenthau. I really liked how they changed locations here as well. The lighting is different, the color scheme is different, and the framing is different, and it really adds aesthetic value to your fight. Karli was losing the fight before. She couldn't stand up to John Walker 1v1 in a test of pure strength, which makes sense. So she moved locations, went into this confined space where she could use her size and agility to an advantage against John in order to overpower him. I thought it was a really great way to show some of her character in the fight.
Sam, stay back.
So what's next, huh? You killed 10 this time, then what, 100? Where does it end? Please, let me help you.
Don't try and manipulate me. Karli, don't!
Karli immediately tries to use her brute strength in order to overpower Captain America, and this is the first and only time in the show that we have seen a non-serum powered person fight a serum powered person with no partners and no backup. Now, I think the most thematically compelling thing about this fight is the fact that Captain America is trying to win her over by not fighting her. I think that is such an interesting choice. However, I think that sometimes thematically it's stronger to show and not tell. This episode specifically was very heavy-handed in a lot of the dialogue, and I think it ended up weakening the overall narrative theme. This is another example of what I'm talking about. Karli's saying fight back, Captain America's saying stop it, she responds by saying fight back, and the dialogue is redundant and repetitive and clunky. And the show is already doing a good job of communicating that idea both aesthetically and with the character's motivation. So the heavy-handed dialogue ends up weakening it. So, I don't think the finale was as strong as I'd hoped it would be. However, there were some really great parts in it. I think the callbacks that they did were very good with George St. Pierre, with the Bucky motorcycle stunt, and there was some really good spectacle as well with Sam and the new suit, using the shield. Those are the kind of high spectacle things that we all want to see in Marvel, and they did a good job with that. As I said, I think this episode's weakest parts were the dialogue, but I think that that is indicative of the show overall. There have been a couple of episodes in the past where I've also felt the dialogue is weak, and also structurally, some of the writing has not made the most sense. For example, it has been set up in previous episodes, but also in this episode, that a bunch of Karli's henchmen have become uncomfortable with how extreme her behaviors have become and how callous she has been treating human life. And that is a very real and true source of conflict, but it never really got paid off. I know that the resolution of the show was Sam showing the world that he was the kind of Captain America that we need Captain America to be. And he did this by resolving Karli's plight with like 2 minutes of dialogue with these senators. Like, mechanically, I understand what they were going for, but it seemed like a really weak way to end the show. I think the strongest part of the episode was when Falcon was in the air. One, because as a hero, he is most comfortable in the air. And so we want to see more stuff with Falcon using his wings and fighting in the air. That's why I think the first episode started off so strong. I think the strongest part of this episode was probably the helicopter sequence when he, as a non-powered person, was coordinating with another person in the helicopter who was also just an average non-powered person, and they worked together in order to defeat the super soldier at the helm of the helicopter. That, to me, thematically was the strongest part of the show and the biggest spectacle. It was really well done, and I feel like it happened in the wrong place. They should have used that kind of model in order to provide the solution for the end of the episode. I think it would have been better than the heavy-handed dialogue. I would love to hear what you guys think, so let me know down in the comments. Did you like the ending of the show? If so, why? If not, why not? And how would you have ended it differently? I really want to know. Remember, if you like what you saw, hit that like and subscribe, and that's all I've got for you today. So take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll see you next time.